to the 2024 A View from the Edge.
It's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep going.
View from the Edge. Your life will never be the same.
It's a place that you want to be.
This is the greatest show on earth. This is the best business in the world.
So keep on fishing, baby.
Nothing's out there better than the Alliance.
It's time to come home and celebrate. Get ready to wave the flag of fun and freedom at the Alliance Family Reunion.
Hey y'all, it's Coffey Anderson here. I am absolutely thrilled to be joining the Alliance family at Family Reunion 2024. Just like Andy Albright built Alliance from the ground up, I have carved my own path in country music scene in this industry, and I cannot wait to share my journey and my music with each and every one of you. Huge thanks to Andy and Jane Albright for giving me this amazing opportunity. I am counting down the days until August when we can come together and make some unforgettable memories. I will see y'all there. Take care.
I'm alive and well in the land of the free. One thing I could never forget, her eyes were blue. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's the light. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue brings us all together. Life's a little better on the tailgate, tailgate.
Deserve it. We want you to be here with us.
Networking's been great. The food, the fun, everything's just been fantastic. 5-star, top notch.
We have seen over 30 whales. Let's go, Alaska! Alaska!
It's the only way you can associate and get to know people and make a friend before you need a friend.
It's just been nuts. Parties, dinners, celebrations, hey, and game planning for the future. How are we going to spend the next 30 years? What are the crazy things we're going to do? Come go with us. Let's go. Check it out.
You need to be at our family reunion coming up in Burlington, North Carolina. I'm telling you, we're going to have a blast. We're going to have a throwdown on the lowdown as far as a family reunion. We're going to have a party. We're going to have education. We're going to meet new family members. We're going to game plan to take over the whole world as far as legacy building, financial planning. It's going to be the bomb. And it's in Burlington, North Carolina. All our top leaders are flying in, hotel rooms, airline flights, Airbnbs, baby. We got the food coming in. We got the top producers. We got All the multi-billion-dollar insurance companies are going to be there representing because they love Burlington, North Carolina. That's where it all started, and this is where it's all going to start again. We're going to explode from here. See you at Family Reunion, first weekend of August. It's going to be crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wednesday Call Live. Now, let's hear from our host, Andy Albright.
All right, boys and girls. I didn't know if I would be here. I knew that Mike and Noel and Adam Katz could handle it fine. They're on the show, so I'm going to bring them on so you can see them if you can't see them now. These guys have massive organizations. So Adam and Beth Katz, massive organization. Is Beth around, Adam?
Yeah, we're having some computer issues that she's logging in on a different computers.
Okay, cool. So. And Mike and Noel, are y'all not in the same location either, Mike or Noel?
Yeah, he just came in the office. I just heard him come in, so he'll be in here in just a second.
Well, I got here 8 minutes early. I was fired up. Normally I'm here 8 seconds on time. So Mike and Noel have a massive organization. It's very profitable. It's very wide. Now, when you draw out their group, you got like different people direct to them. Their deepest leg is their biggest leg. Okay, so watch this. If you don't have deep legs, you don't have big legs. Make sense? You don't have organization. That's organization. We're not talking legs, man. We're talking organizations. So you hire a person, then they hire people, and you can. When I first heard this, I was like, let me get this straight. I override the person I hire and all the volume underneath him also, because I thought it'd be like me make money off of this person and then this person make money off this person make this. No, it's the whole organization. Okay, so Mike and Noel have some massive organization, and then they got one that's not quite as massive, and then they got one not quite as massive, and then they got some out here that just plain out nubs, you know what I mean? Like a little piece like that going down, like one person leg, not much of a leg at all. Like I'm not gonna say. So, so Adam and Beth have done the same thing. They built massive organization. I will tell you this. I attended national conventions with a different organization called Amway Corporation, which is a network marketing selling soap and vitamins and stuff like that. And in where I sat, there was a guy named Alex Abian, and I got to be friends with Abian. So Abian is who's the one that told Mike and Noel about this business. So that's a massive organization of mine. So if you want to have a massive organization, you have to have somebody that has a massive organization. Okay, so Adam and Beth have a massive organization. It's not as easy to get to him because when we hired an 18-year-old kid named Mike, I think, I don't know, Mike. And Mike hired his mommy, and his mommy was a school teacher that knew Adam, and the mommy, I think, hired Adam. Is that right, Adam?
Yes. Yeah, she was my mentor teacher.
So it was only three. So it was Mike, Mommy, and Adam. And then Adam and them had this massive organization. And Mike went off and, became something. He did something. And then Mommy, she married the principal, and she said, that's enough money. I don't need any more money. I got married a principal now. So she quit doing it. But then Adam and Beth were like, we're having fun. Let's just keep doing it. So that was 30-some years ago, right, Adam?
32.
I think I texted you last time. I'm gonna turn it over to you guys, especially let's go with Mike and Noel, but I'll tell y'all something. So I've been on Earth a while, okay? And years. But last night, Keon, this might not mean nothing to you, but it means a lot to me. You gotta think about it. You gotta try to put yourself in my feet, my shoes, my position. So last night I go to this nice dinner called Bascom's, okay? And my friend Jack, not to be confused with the man-made stuff, but it's Jack, okay? So Jack invites me to dinner, and we're going to go out and talk business. Jack has been on Earth for 79 years. In 2 more months, it'll be 80 years he's been on Earth, all right? So he's wanting me to meet a friend of his named Fred. And Fred's this, Fred's that, Fred's deal maker, and Fred's crazy rich and done all this stuff, knows people. And so I said, let's go to Bascom's. He's like, Fred owns Bascom's. I'm going to tell Fred to meet us there. So he's on his phone to Fred. So get this, Fred is 89, and in 2 months, he's going to be 90. So he's on the phone talking junk to Fred, trying to get Fred to come over to the restaurant. It's his restaurant. And the waiter says, it's storming like crazy outside. So I do the shutters down, and I looked outside, and it's just torrential. Florida, just water coming down. And he's like, Fred ain't coming. His wife ain't going to let him. And, he's 90 years old, right? No. About an hour and a half later, Fred comes walking in. I'm talking 8:30 at night. 90-year-old done drove during a storm, disobeyed his wife's words, and went out in the storm by himself to come over to his restaurant and sit down and talk to us. And I'm sitting here, I feel like I'm 12 years old with these guys. You know what I'm saying? And I said, Fred, I like the way they run this place. I don't know if I told y'all, but I want a steak restaurant. But they run it right. Okay, like for example, when you look at there's so many little things that are right about it. Like restaurants, sometimes I'll be like, wrong. Well, this one's right. So like every review gets a response, every single one. Every waiter, stupid attentive, stupid funny, stupid knowledgeable about the menu, stupid in sales, always upselling, just all right. And I was afraid, heck of a restaurant. He said, yeah. He said, did I tell you about when I bought it? I said, well, Jack did. Well, he started telling it, and I was like, Jack, you got it all wrong. So the guy's telling a story about he's on a yacht in Italy talking to this guy, and the guy's on the phone screaming at the manager of Bascom's. And so him and Fred cut a deal, and Fred bought it 20 years ago. So listen to me. He was 69 when he bought the restaurant. That is badass. And I mean, it was slam-packed on a Tuesday night. Just stupid slam back. Yeah, I don't know. Is it? You understand what I'm saying, Adam? They met in 1963. I wasn't even born. Oh, y'all probably wasn't either. Is it crazy? So, depth, finding people, networking. Imagine that's God. What could be done on earth should you not die? And you build a network. Okay, Mike and Noel, you guys have found some great people in your organization. Would you take me through, I'm just looking kind of like for examples to tell people when you hire, like we hired an 18-year-old kid. I shut up. 18-year-old kid, he was not that good. As a matter of fact, the only person he ever hired was his mommy. And his mommy hired Adam and Beth, who are massive. So kind of take us somewhere through those, Mike and Noel, and interject, Noel, or run the show, Noel. Mike and Noel, tell my friends how it worked for your business.
Thank you, Andy. I appreciate it. I actually was hired by Alex Avian. He was a friend of mine. So he was a warm market person I knew at a job that I worked before. And thank God he invited me to come and check out this business. That was 24 years ago, which is crazy because you're talking about that guy knowing that relationship for that long. It just seems like it's just gone so quickly, but it's just been an amazing ride. So I'm grateful to Alex Avian for that. We have a map. I also want to tell you, if you don't have your ticket for family reunion yet, there's still time to get it. There's still ability to get there. If you're listening to this on the road, you can still call some people and get some people to a family reunion because it's going to be off the charts. Come and check us out. Come and learn. Come and see people. Come and meet people. It's a patriotic military, all dressed up, fired up, ready to go. Coffey Anderson's going to be there. Albright's going to be on the stage. Katz is going to be on the stage. It's going to be off the charts. So get some people there. I'm going to have Mike talk about that first leg that you're referring to with Jake Varae, because that is there's stories in between there. There's some warm market. Most of it's warm market relationships. People know people. And then there are some cold market. So I'll have him talk about it because he's got it memorized. And to be honest with you, I don't. So I'm going to have him take over with that.
All right. So as we got rolling, we understood finding people. So we've worked with people in our warm market, but we also learned how to advertise. In fact, I'm going to be talking about things I do to find people and get into the weeds on how we find and recruit and interview people on Saturday. But out of one of the ads that we ran it in Phoenix. Somebody was in Alaska and responded to that ad. That's Paul Epstein. And he was in the process of looking to move from Alaska down to Phoenix, saw the ad, he gets started. And along the way, we said, hey, man, who else do you know? He said, man, my buddy Joseph, he could be good at this. He's doing sales in the mortgage business. Joseph starts part-time.
I got a question. Why did somebody enter an ad in Alaska? Were you running ads in Alaska or something?
We ran an ad in Phoenix, but he was looking to run to Phoenix to move. He just happened to be in Alaska selling cars.
Okay. So you were running an ad in Phoenix looking for people there, and he's in Alaska and want to move there. So he saw the ad and thought, myself, I got you now. It was strange the way you recruiting in Alaska.
It's fine thread, right? Who would have thought, So along the way, Joseph is running. He's up and running. He runs an ad and finds a guy. I think the guy was in Phoenix, and he had a cousin who was up in Salt Lake. So this guy had a cousin named Jake, who he says, Jake, hey, we ought to get rolling. So we go up there, and Jake's getting started. He's got a wife. They got a little baby. I remember he lived in a parsonage. That was attached to a funeral home.
Explain what a parsonage is.
It's like a rectory.
For us people that don't know what a parsonage
is. It is a house attached to a funeral home. It was like The Undertaker. So if you worked the funeral home and you was a head man in charge, they'd give you a free place to stay, at least in this one. So he lived there. So I remember we was up doing a meeting.
I thought a parsonage was attached to a church. I didn't know a parsonage could be attached to a funeral home.
Oh, I know that's what they call it.
I'm going to Google it. I'm going to Google it.
All right. So I just remember we was doing a meeting. He had invited his brother and some other people. And as we're doing the meeting in the parlor at the funeral home, they say, hey, y'all need to stop for a second because we have to wheel a body in.
Are you making this stuff up?
No, dude, you can't make this up. So it's like, okay.
How many people were at that meeting?
It was maybe 6 or 7 or 8 people. Whatever it was. I just remember, okay, everybody, time out. It was like in Wayne's World, the car's coming, game off. All right, pull the body through, game on. So his brother was there, his brother Jason.
Yeah.
And he had a couple businesses. He's fired up. He gets licensed, starts doing some stuff. Then we start talking. He's like, man, my neighbor. And his neighbor, Court, was working for another agency. And Court's like, yeah, my boss is being investigated by the FBI. I kind of turned him in for doing some illegal stuff. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to have this job, but I'm interested in doing something with y'all. So Court gets rolling. Well, then he hires a guy that was in the agency and another guy that was in the agency. That second, there was a guy named Kevin, and then I forget the other guy's name. I do remember he came to a conference, and he was like 45 years old, and he was wearing Heelys. Y'all know what Heelys are?
Some people don't know what they are.
Them little sneakers that have little like wheels on the end. So I just remember we was at the Raleigh Convention Center, and he's buzzing around on Heelys as a 45-year-old dude. I was like, huh. We finding people. Here's people say, well, how do you find people? And I think I remember 2 things. We work like crazy to be nice and non-judgmental. We didn't be like, oh, look at that joker. I can't believe he's got Heelys in here. We got to kick him out. I was like, Heelys, that's cool. High five. I should try that sometime. So I think some people are like, oh, my people would never show up. Heelys, I'd be like, I'm fired up to have someone else crazy enough to do it. And so nice and non-judgmental, and then learning to say, hey, who's someone else you know that would be cool that we should have on our team?
Yeah.
In fact, here's one of the things I realize when we're in the zone and doing it right. It's a little bit like somebody that's good with their Airbnbs and they're good at asking their guests for 5-star reviews. And so I figured out, if you're a good Airbnb, I got a cousin who is, and she sets up the expectation. And she's serving them, hey, what else can I do to make your stay better? Please call me. Our goal is, she tells them, our goal is to get you to want to give us a 5-star review when we're done. And so when we're more like that, Andy, my goal is to get you to like us enough, you're going to want to bring somebody on board and help you get started.
Mike, how deep are you at this point? You get Paul answered an ad in Alaska because he wanted to move to Phoenix. And then somebody, and we're down to, what's his name, Court?
Yeah.
Court, and then the other guy and the Healy guy. So let's see, Joseph. So Paul, Joseph, cousin, Jake, Jason, Court, Kevin, Healy guy. So that's 8.
8 down.
Okay. So we're being nice to him. We'll say, who else do you know? And because we're asking, then he's like, hey, there's this guy, Kevin, who's also in Salt Lake. So there's another Kevin. And so Kevin starts doing good stuff, and he runs an ad in Albuquerque. And he finds a lady named Adrian.
Older lady.
Older. I think she was like, she might have been 70, 60s,
69,
70s.
70. Yeah, she was older.
She would write an annuity or an IUL once every 3 months. She would never come to an event. But you need to come to our event, Adrian. My rheumatism, I don't know, whatever reason was, we were just nice to her, though.
I know the type.
What's that?
I know the type.
Yeah, and we're just nice. And she would call the question, and we'd answer it. And then she says, I got this guy, Jerry. I think he could be good at this. He does a lot with those, selling glass replacement, glass repair stuff. And so next thing you know, we're talking to Jerry Gonzalez. And
Not
so
Jerry.
then
Not
Jerry's Jerry's out there helping people, doing stuff part-time, writing good quality business. People love him. We're nice to him. And one day he says, hey, my daughter could be good at this. So next thing you know, Jerry gets started. She starts writing $20,000, $30,000 a month.
Rookie of the year that year.
Yeah.
Rookie of the year in the Alliance the year she started.
And so then the first month out of the gate, she wrote 30,000 because I met her.
Yeah.
In Denver or somewhere. I don't know where I'm at.
Down there in Albuquerque. Albuquerque. So she's cooking along. And then she has this great first year. And then she comes back. She says, I need to take a year off. She had a distraction. So, but she said, you know what? My boyfriend's niece would be really good at this, and y'all should talk to her. So that's how we found Varae.
To be clear, Jared is 100% in.
Yeah, and then she's still dating. Sometimes y'all need a sabbatical.
Yeah.
What would you say, Noelle?
She's 100% in. She'll be at our event here in Family because you said Jared took some time off. I just want everybody to know she didn't disappear. So
the people that we still see is Jake and Varae, clearly, because that's who we're talking about, how you got down to them.
Yep.
And Jera.
Jera and Jerry.
And Jerry, so daddy and daughter.
Yeah. And Dukes, Joseph.
And Joe Dukes.
And Paul Epstein.
So we see all of those.
Yeah.
All submit business. But the other names,
we just created nicknames for them because we can't remember them that well.
Are you making up Court? Is that his real name?
Yeah, that one I do remember, yeah.
Yeah,
Court.
no, it was Court.
But the other one, a couple of them you don't remember the names.
A couple of them I don't.
So then Jake and Varae, so kind of tell them they're doing good. They're starting to build a massive organization and a massive bank account.
11 issue pay legs wide in the month of July.
Jake and Varae, 11 wide, right in business.
Closing in on 150,000 and 40 some unique riders. I had to go back and check, but a good chunk of unique riders. This was 40 or 30.
40 different people. We call it unique because they're individual, not because they're very unique, but they are unique. 40 different ones in their agency. 150,000. So if you're overriding that group on 10 points, that's 15,000 a month. But keep in mind, it's the whole thing they get a percentage of, not just Jake and Britt. It's the whole thing, the whole hierarchy. And Jake Varae doing 150.
In fact, last week their team submitted 54 applications in 1 week. So if you figure, hey, that's close to whatever it is, a $40,000, $50,000 a week submit rate. Hey, that's closing in on, 40 to 50,000 a week. You're starting to close in on 200,000 when you got a team doing that. And then they got the seminars going on. Their mom's involved. So they've got
Sarah.
She hired her mama, didn't she?
Yeah,
hired her mom.
Her mama's got a network.
No offense to Varae, but how long did it take her to hire her mom? Like, she was in a while before she hired her mom.
Yeah, it was The View last year that her mom decided to got lit up and said, I'm going to do this thing.
3 years in, 2 years in?
Yeah, 2 to 3 years around, maybe 3 years.
And now that she's hired her, is she the biggest leg they got yet?
I think Sarah Seifert is the largest organization currently.
So her mom is the second largest?
Mama's the second largest. Amanda.
they got a group of some young guys. Herman and Caden. There's a group of young guys that got started. Bruno got started in April. That they're going to close out. I don't know, maybe 15,000 issue paid for this month. More important though, there's about 6 guys that are hungry that are writing business, and so they could recruiting that could pop up easily and take out leg 2 or 3. I mean 1 or 2.
But think about this. I'm 37 years old, and my cousin says, hey, I don't know if it took nerve. I don't know if he just occurred to him. I don't know what jarred him, but he said, hey, you ought to get an insurance license. Me? And I did, and that leads to all of this that they're talking about. Like, one question, one thin thread. Mike runs an ad. Jerry says, my daughter might do. You understand, if you ever win the lottery, $1 billion off one of the scratch-offs, it probably ain't going to be the first one you buy, but it could be. But if you don't buy one, you ain't never going to win. The bad thing about scratch-offs, you scratch them off, and the numbers be what the numbers are. But with a person, you hire them, immediately you double the number of tickets you get. You triple the number of tickets you get. You 50 times the number of tickets for that lottery ticket. Because who do they know? And this is very critical to understand. The most excited a person will ever be is day one. Immediately. People say, after they get a big check, they will not be as excited the first day. As a matter of fact, they'll probably be a little disappointed because they thought it was going to be $1 billion check, first one they got, and it's like $862. They say, you got your first check? And they go, yeah, it's $862. And you're like, you should be jacked up. But it was the first day when they're the most excited. So what's my point? When you get that ticket, the first day is when you want to go to the next person. Now, if you're nice, like Mike said, that ticket hangs around, Jerry hangs around, and eventually ask his daughter. You with me? Okay. All right. That's good stuff, Mike and Noelle. Noelle, you look like you got a lot more information.
Well, I just want to say one thing about the thin thread or the relationship, because had Alex not talked to us, there was another guy in this business that was in our wedding. He was one of our best friends. He was in our wedding, was in this business, and didn't say anything to us.
I know that guy. What's his name?
His name's John Miller.
John should have told Mike and Noelle, but he didn't. Because if John had told Mike and Noelle, they'd be in John's group, not mine. You remember, how did he find out? Didn't he see your name on a leaderboard and call you or something?
He saw my name on a leaderboard, and at that time it just said W. Lewantowicz on the leaderboard, and he called Mike. And Mike can tell you what he said, but he was like, hey, I see a Lewantowicz on here. Do you have a W. Lewantowicz in the family? Well, Lewantowicz is a long Polish name. Most of them are related to Mike's family. And he said, well, it's Noelle. My first name starts with a W, so he said, that's Noelle. You're in that insurance thing too? Because Mike wasn't involved at that time. He wasn't in, but.
You weren't in then, Mike, when he called?
We were just getting started.
Yeah, had not jumped in class yet. I was about to jump into class.
Yeah. And he said, oh, you're doing that insurance too? That's Noelle. Oh my gosh. Why didn't you say anything?
Did that give you more, Mike, when he told you he was involved, did that increase the credibility? Like, oh, this guy's in it too. Like, wow.
It definitely did, yeah. Because he was on the leaderboard. He saw something, he was making it work.
He was also, he was in the mortgage business, so he was making money.
Making money, yeah. He was getting after it.
I wonder if he'd give up. I ain't heard of him, seen him.
Yeah,
we have to give up.
I know.
We ought to call him back, tell him about our new estate planning program we got. You better call him before somebody else does, I can tell you that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Ain't that the truth?
I don't know what drives everybody, but I saw this movie one time and he said, greed is good. And I thought, because I don't want nobody else to get them. I want to get them. I was on the phone with your daughter of just a minute or two, Adam. I don't know if she told you. I had dogs, Jane and Victoria, and I was, car driving to the jet. And I was talking to her about recruiting, and I can't, we're going to do recruiting 101, 102, 104. We might get to a 202 or 203 level recruiting, but I was on a 5 level with her like that. And I was telling her about, you got to have it on your mind all the time. Because it's on my mind a lot of the time. Not all, but a lot. And while I was talking to her, I remembered a conversation I had had with Victoria earlier about her son who's 27. And I'm not going to share too much personal information, but she had me crying laughing because he's had a girlfriend or 38 of them. And he's 27. And they love him. They love him. And so when I'm talking to Emily, I remember this conversation. I'm like, oh, hello. I ain't tried to recruit my driver lady's son. So I was like, I always do this when I remember something because I remember that means something. So I'm talking to her, I'm talking to Emily, and I'm like, I'm anxious to hang up because I got to get back to Victoria. But you understand what I'm telling you is I was about to let that 27-year-old slip by, but I didn't. As soon as I hung up with Emily, I said, Victoria, that son you was telling me about, I like him. He got some personality. She said, oh, yeah. I said, when I talked to him about making some money, he is what I'm looking for. And she started laughing. I said, I'm not kidding. So, I'm gonna text her a minute and follow up. I don't even know his name. But you understand what I'm telling you is greed. For some people, they want to change the world. Like, I want to change his life. Like, Alex Abian got Mike and Noelle and changed their life. Is all your kids through college? No, you got one getting ready to go in law school, so she's wrapping up college. But
well, Emily's the oldest. She graduated, and then she's applying to law schools now. And then we have Aaron, that's a senior in college at South Carolina. And then Elise is a sophomore at University of Cincinnati. And then we have a son who's a junior in high school.
Are they worried about paying for college?
No.
Only when Noelle says, you better do this if you want us to help keep paying.
I have been known to do that on occasion.
I'm saying because Abian reached out, Abians have made a lot of money, but because Abians reached out, their kids get to go to college unencumbered by debt. They get to experience life in a different way because Abian. So some people want to change people's lives, like life changing. And then some people just plain greedy and they want to get somebody else and make more money. So is it greed or is it, what do you call it when you just want to help other people? What's the word for it? Huh? What? Speak it. What? Philanthropic. Nah. What is it, school teachers with the fancy degrees, Adam and Beth?
Altruistic.
That's the word of the bird. They're altruistic. They just want to give and give and give and make a difference. That's the way I am, as a matter of fact. Don't laugh at me. You're supposed to laugh, but at the right time. So when I announced this meeting or this teaching, I just picked Jake and Varae. Y'all can pick anybody. So I know you got other examples, Mike and Noel, of people y'all have met and led to other people. That was just one that came to mind. And then the same thing with Linda Gobel and Keith and Linda. But Adam and Beth, let's reflect back a little bit on our first meeting and then talk about how your business developed and how it's led to some great people like Linda and Keith.
So I remember, we were just a name on a list. You always talk about text dialing and call the lists and things like that. And I was teaching, Jane and I were at the same school. But I didn't really know Jane at all. The reason I knew Anne Marie was because she was my mentor teacher. So I was assigned to her to help me through that first year of teaching, the ups and downs and the hiccups and dealing with stuff. So I knew Anne Marie. And you just called us up and asked if we kept our options open, making money. And, we were broke. Each of us was making $19,900 a year as a first-year school teacher. And we realized very quickly we needed to make some more money, especially because long-term we knew Beth wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And there was no way that was going to happen based on the income levels that we had. So you called us up. The interesting thing is that our realtor, his name is Boyd Beasley, he had sold us our townhouse when we moved to Harnett County. And he called us the same week. And we met with him and his upline same week. Same day? Was it same day? Same day. So you came like Saturday morning, he came Saturday afternoon. So we were open.
Think about it. That's how close it was that they wouldn't be in my meeting. They would be in Boyd's team.
Yeah.
The same day.
And I just calling a list. I remember after going to the Tuesday night op meeting, I forget what we call it. Was it op meetings? It wasn't a hotspot, but went down to Fayetteville, went to that meeting. And I remember having this conversation with Beth because I didn't know you. We had met you for 10 minutes. And I didn't know the guy who recruited Boyd. And I remember saying, I think we'd probably make more money with Boyd because he was a realtor, he was a businessman versus Anne Marie being a school teacher. What does she know about? But I feel like we need to go with Anne Marie because she's my mentor teacher at school. That's how close we came to making the worst decision in our life. And that's how close we came to not knowing you and Jane. And, Boyd didn't last very long when probably we would have quit when Boyd quit. Because there was nobody who was going to build a relationship like you and Jane built a relationship and inspire a dream like you and Jane inspired a dream. You talk about, Noel mentioned thin threads. That's about as thin a thread as is out there. Beth, would you remember anything different about it?
My only difference in that memory is that we had that conversation before we went to the meeting. Before we went, because both people booked us into, let's call it a hotspot, same city, Fayetteville, North Carolina, same night, but different locations. And we had to make a choice of which meeting we were going to go to. And so we chose relationship over that. So total thin threads of that day, total thin threads that we ended up in that county for teaching. Like, we hadn't even applied to that county, and doors opened that we got jobs there. So it was just like this convergence of, you can say of chance meetings, or you can say ordained path, but meetings that put us in the right place with the right people at the right moments.
Yeah, it's just a crazy story how we ended up in Harnett County, and how many God moments there were of, no, you need to meet Albright. Looking back on it, that's what it led to. Everything led to, nope, you need to meet Albright.
Okay, so don't be thinking it just happened. Somebody did something, like took action. So I'm encouraging you to take action. And the more action you take, your odds go up of success. So like, if I had talked to Victoria and listened to that funny story that I didn't tell y'all 10% of it, laughing my butt off at her, and I was talking about my kids, and we're talking about her kids, because my kids same age as her kids. We're talking about them laughing. Took action and said, hey, your son. Now I got to take another action and text her and get his name and push her, because she might not do it. I got to make you like it's just action. So if you buy a lottery ticket, you understand there's more money out of pocket. But if you're driving debt, it's just action. So you're paying for a new lottery ticket with action, with energy. It's energy to open your mouth. It's energy to act somebody. It's energy to text somebody. It's energy. That's why the people with more energy oftentimes have bigger organization. Because it's like having a bigger pocketbook, having a bunch of buying lottery tickets. The more lottery tickets you buy, we're talking about the golden ticket, and the Willy Wonka, how the daddy wanted to buy every ticket so his kid would get into the chocolate factory or whatever it was. So the concept is energy and action, taking a move and do it. We used to do this right here. We do it like this right here, Amir. Give my hand right here, like right here. So you take a hand out there like that, like it's just hand shaking. That's a move right there. That takes energy. Stick your hand out and meet somebody like that. Or to text. That's another magic move, text. Okay, so talk about y'all's deal, Adam, hiring people and some of the people.
So yeah, the way we got to Linda Gobel is, we hired this guy, I think it was either Monster or ZipRecruiter or something like that. We got his resume off of that. He was in Jacksonville, North Carolina, and we hired him. And he had been in another insurance deal, so he was already licensed. And he actually was originally from Dayton, Ohio. So he flew home to that area and, got some leads and worked some former clients. And he actually met with a client and wrote a policy, replaced somebody else's business because we had better product, better program. So he replaced the business, got the guy's business card, the other agent's business card from his client, from the client he just wrote. And so he called the guy up. His name is Darren. And he said, hey, I wanted you to know I just replaced your policy. You ought to come work for me. And Darren's like, well, I'm only doing this part-time. You really need to talk to my brother, Gerald. So he called Gerald, and and so Gerald came on board. So we had Anthony, rest his soul, who hired Gerald and Darren, and then they had a guy that they knew named Rob, and so Rob gets in, and Rob starts really, and all these guys are making money. Darren's not, but Anthony's making money. Gerald's making money. Rob comes in. He's really making money. And he hires this guy from his kid's private school. I think he was a music director or a music teacher or something at the school, named Steve. And so now we're down to Steve. And then Steve hired his good buddy that he knew from church named Lane. Okay. Lane hired his ex-wife, Gail, that got us to Kansas. Okay, so all of that. So it started Jacksonville, North Carolina. Then we're in Dayton, Ohio. Dayton, and now we're in Johnson County, Kansas. And we start doing meetings out in Kansas, or it's Kansas City. We were doing meetings out there, and I'd fly out, do a meeting, work with some other people, and Gail starts hiring a few people. So she hires a good friend of hers, Leanne, who was getting ready to get started, coming to the meeting, and Leanne bumped into Linda Gobel in the parking lot of a grocery store. And they just started chatting. And Linda was like, Linda was going to save Leanne from herself in making a bad mistake. So Linda said, tell me the name of the company. Let me check it out for you. She was going to vet it for Leanne to make sure Leanne didn't make a mistake. And so Linda did some research, I guess Googled you, Googled the Alliance, and she called Leanne back and said, hey, this thing's solid. What time's that meeting? I'm doing this. And, we were very strategic on how we got to Linda Gobel. And there's a boatload of stories all the way through there. With a lot of those people. It's just all you can do is stay steady and do what you're supposed to do. That's what we have found out is, our job is to do the work, and, the chips are going to fall where they are. Some of those guys, what we also have found is this: there are some people who are only designed to go half the way with you. That's just who they are. They don't rank commitment, permanency, loyalty very high on their radar. And then there are other guys that make a covenant commitment, and they want to do life together. And it's and that's what we're looking for. You go through the ones who are just there as placeholders, and then you go through the ones that are just there as temporary. And then you get to the ones that really want to build relationships and build a business together and link arms. And that's the cool thing watching it. In hindsight, when you're going through some of it, it's not fun. When somebody that you were counting on or somebody that you thought you had a good relationship with decides to go a different direction, that's not fun. That's not the fun part of the business. But then when you look back on it and you see how it all shook out, and, in the last 10 years with Keith and Linda Gobel traveling the world together, they are family. They have become family. They're coming to family reunion. They're bringing a team with them. She is killing it with the seminars. She has people on her team doing the seminars. And, it's going to be exciting watching, the rest of this year, watching the Gobel team. And all of that came from, this Indeed resume we were able to pull, our monster resume we were able to pull.
Beth.
So I was just how far down Keith and Linda are, and I had relationships with a lot of the people that Adam named in between, but when it got to Keith and Linda, I really did not get to meet them until we were on the Oasis cruise, the Alliance cruise. And so obviously far enough in depth that at that time I didn't know her, but she had already qualified for a trip. And our son Andrew is in LA right now. And so he sent me a picture the other day, and he was eating at a Johnny Rockets. Well, Andrew has eaten at Johnny Rockets twice in his life. Once was in LA, and the first time was on that cruise ship. And we had that meal with Keith and Linda. And so that was the first time I really spent time with the couple that, that's just now lifelong friends. And so Andrew's response to me was, wow, they sure elevated themselves from vacation friends to lifelong friends. And that's just it. It's story. So you don't know who's going to be your next best friend in the business until you reach out your hand and I love how Jane says, she forms connections with people. She reaches out and she sees who will reach back. And that's just, that's what Keith and Linda have done. And we sifted through a lot to get down there, and we're sifting even more below them to find who's the next Keith and Linda.
So, how deep was that from y'all, Adam? How many people before Linda?
I believe it's 9 deep. Another cool part of that whole story is, somebody that was part of that organization left on good terms. We didn't burn bridges. It was just bad timing. Life was getting in his way. He had a lot of life going on at that time. But we didn't burn bridges, and we left the relationship strong. And this guy happened to just bump into Mike at a Waffle House in Louisville. And, because Beth and I didn't burn a bridge, well, I don't know if that's the reason, but we didn't make him not like the Alliance. So when he bumped into Mike happenstance, it was just better timing. He remembered the feelings. He remembered the company. He remembered you. And now he's an integral part of Mike and Noel's business. And, you just talked about
one of the people on the way down that got in and eventually that he left for whatever was going on in his life and then came back
like 6 years later.
Not in this hierarchy, came back and with Mike and Noel.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing. Talking about this guy, the first guy that we met, Jacksonville, North Carolina, he hired, he hired a cousin or a good friend of his in Fayetteville, and Glenn. And Glenn hired this girl, Christy. And Christy's brother had come to a meeting. This is in Fayetteville back in 2006. And he had come to me, he got licensed. I think he wrote one policy. And then he moved back to Washington State, lost contact. 17 years later, he shoots me a text. So at the time he was 22 years old. Now he's 39. He makes six figures. He and his partner, he and his girlfriend own a business, a nail salon together. And he's like, I want to make millions of dollars. And he always remembered us. He always remembered the Alliance. And he texted us. His name's Kyle. He's coming to convention.
He'll be here at Family Reunion.
Business. You met him. You met him in Seattle. Yeah.
Yeah, I met him. He's going to be here.
Oh yeah, he's fine and he's fired up. He's looking to sell, recruit, and build big time. He sees this as a vehicle to make millions. And so that was another relationship from 17 years ago that just out of the blue. But he never forgot about us. He keeps looking at his phone and being like, I need to get back with this guy, and just timing, and now the timing's perfect. It's just crazy how these things work out.
Actually, go look at see if you find a book. It says Beating Vegas. Beating Vegas. It's a white paperback. Beating Vegas or Taking Down Vegas. So let me tell you, here's how Vegas works. The odds are against you. They're for the house. So you might win. Let's say there's an 80% chance you're going to lose and 20% chance you'll win. Then you're going to win something. But you shouldn't get excited thinking, I'm going to ultimately win. Because if you play 100 times, you're going to lose 80, win 20. But if you just play one, you might win one and not lose any. It just depends. It's an engineering, it's a mathematical fact that you're going to lose if you stay long enough. So if it's 51% of the time you're going to lose and 49% you're going to win, then you might have to play for 8 hours or 20 hours or 60 hours, but you're going to lose because eventually, when I say lose, they're going to take all your money. Like you sit down with $10,000, you start playing, you might be up 12, you might be down to 8, up 14, down to 2, up to 10, down to 8. If you don't... Okay. So beat the crap table. Now, this is the way we play. Like when we play, this is how we play. Okay, until,
Full house wins.
Jack makes the good stuff, God makes the great stuff. But so too much Jack, we start doing stupid bets. And we call them sucker bets because it's like this bet, you're going to win 20%, lose 80%. But the 20% of the time, it's just, they're really tricky the way they get you. Like, for example, snake eyes. It's like 30-1. So you bet $100. If you win, it's times 30. What's 30 times 100? Is that 3,000? Is that right? Okay. So you just put down $100, you win $3,000 on one roll. So it's enticing, right? Versus if you put money on the pass line, you just win. You put down 100, you win 110. Right? It's like it's not. So, but the odds here are better than the 30-1 because they trick you by having these high payouts. Okay. And then the best odds in the entire table. There's pictures, numbers everywhere. It's called the odds. And there's no place that tells you that. As a matter of fact, there's nothing written there. It's called pass line, but the money you set behind it is the best chances of winning in the world. But hardly anybody does. It's just like people don't know the math of how it works. And so when we go, we know the math and try to win the math. Okay, so in this business, when you're talking to people, you're going to win. I just don't know how soon you're going to win. Vegas, you're going to lose. I just don't know how soon. But if you quit when you're ahead in Vegas, all you can walk away with is what you want. If you quit when you're ahead in this business, all you can walk away is what you want. But if you don't quit, you eventually going to make millions and millions and millions of dollars. Here, you're eventually going to lose however much you're playing with. Right? It's so the odds of this business are so great. And I was thinking about football, Keon, is like you want to win and get that $10 million contract. And it might happen, might not. I know the odds, but it don't matter what the odds. You don't care if it's 1 in a billion. You're still going to try. But then it's how long is it going to last? And then how do you get $10 million? How do you get another $10 million contract? How do you get another $10 million contract? How do you get another $10 million contract? $10 million contracts, fine. You know, BJ Hill, he's making $10 million a year. He's fired up out of his mind. All right, I would be too. But the difference here, like he's one in 100 million that he wanted. Here, it's I can show you thousands and thousands of people making millions of dollars because it's going to work, and you can be old and continue on. It's hard to get paid $10 million after you're 42 in football. Now you can do what Roger Staubach did. He's a legendary guy. He was making millions playing football. He got into real estate and got into development. Now he's worth over, I think it's a couple $1 billion. But so what he did is he transferred the intensity that he had for playing quarterback for Dallas Cowboys into business. Now I'm saying if Staubach had been doing what we're doing, he'd been a 100 billionaire. How long he's been doing it. This guy's pushing, I don't know, Google, see how old Roger Staubach is. I'm trying to, like, you can't lose doing this. And it don't cost any money. And you don't get he's 82. So, young guy, young whippersnapper over there. you statistically speaking, you just, so as soon as you hire a person, You go down that rabbit trail. Who do they hire and who do they hire and who do they hire? And like with Adam, had one gone for how many years has that guy gone, Adam? 17?
17 years.
And then comes back. It's just, and I was thinking back to Mike and Noah. I called Abian, but what happened is I knew Abian's upline, Roger, and I also know Roger's upline, Art. So I actually called Art and Roger, and like I knew these people. They were in a different group. I called all of them. And it was funny because Abian said, I'm in, but I ain't working with this guy, Art. And then I said, what about Roger? He said, I'll work with Roger. So I called them all to come to a meeting. Well, Roger said, I'm not working with this guy, period. I go, yeah, but he knew you, and then Abian, and Abian's getting in, and I don't want to take Abian away from you. You is your guy, is your friend. He said, I don't care. I'm not working with that guy. So he come over here and he would write $20,000 or $30,000 a month. I hired him, but he didn't put anybody under him. He didn't want to do that. So Art said, I get Abian because he's my guy from like a previous relationship. And Abian said, okay, but I'm not talking to him. Well, I don't know. Don't care. I said, well, don't talk to him then. So I hired Art and Abian. You with me? And then Abian, me and him were buddies, but he didn't like this guy. Well, then this guy that Abian didn't like, he hired a guy. Well, actually, He brought up a guy that I knew, but I ain't seen the guy in 7 years. And I was down in Orlando, and on International Drive, I took him out to lunch. It's a martini place. I think of it. And it's 24 years ago. I took him to this martini place and got some lunch, and he got in. So Art hired this guy, but really it was me. Well, then this guy was psycho. He got problems, Bo. And then this guy hired Eric Belair. Well, then this guy quit. And then Ding Dong, I don't know if he's alive either. But so I end up having Avian and Belair. But it's kind of hard to track it all. But you're saying, so I hired this. There was 3 people that knew each other, and I got them all at the same time. I'm telling all of them. If he didn't want to do it, I was going to get Avian. If he didn't want to do it, I was going to get him. I got all 3 of them, and then this guy led to Belair. And there's some other people he led too. And
didn't he lead to Osuna?
Say again?
Didn't he lead to Osuna also?
Yeah, Osuna. Marvin and Rachel Osuna, same thing, because that one guy. But see, I'm going on and on and on. And, all right. I am going to tell you something that's a little controversial. But me and Kevin Keats, NC State basketball coach, are alike in this one aspect. Dave Dorn, I'm like it with him. I heard, what's the famous women's coach that everybody knows? UConn?
Gino Auriemma.
Yeah.
Say his name.
Gino Auriemma.
I don't know Auriemma. Gino says this, okay? You can't play with me on my team with bad body language. Not on my team. That's discriminatory, isn't it? Isn't that judgmental? To judge a girl based on her posture and demeanor? That's discriminatory as hell. He should give her a chance. He's like, I'm Gino. Like he's somebody. Like he's the god of women basketball. He's like, I'm going to hire him. Kevin Keats, hey, we've got this guy up in New Hampshire. I was like, up there, man. Her son went to school up there. All right, let's fly up there. We fly up there. And we're looking at this kid and talking. I said, what about Alan over there? He said, hell no, Albright. Hell no, Albright. I said, why? He said, watch him when he misses a shot. When he missed a shot, his shoulders go down. He said, that guy ain't never walking on the court for me. That's discriminatory. I am as discriminatory as them two are. On the other hand, if you'd have saw Keats when he met the kid, he was non-discriminatory. He had no idea. So I drew this picture. This is what I was talking to your daughter about. I don't think you see it. It goes like this. I'm discriminatory as hell. I'm not discriminatory. I'm not judgmental about anybody. Right? Spud Webb played at NC State. He's 5'7", won a dunking championship in the NBA. He's 5'7", because he was not discriminated against because he was 5'7". He was not. It was empathy. The guy was like, I like him. I'm guessing he had great posture also. But you're saying is like this is what I was telling Emily, Adam, and you can picture why I'm saying this is you can judge on this, but you can't judge on that, and you can't let them see it ever. That's where Mike was saying nice. So, for example, with Victoria, I love Victoria. She's one of my best drivers. But the son's 27. I'm discriminatory as in I'm going after him hard. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm judging that this one's good, so I'm going to spend more money. But I'm non-judgmental to her. She's older. She's a driver. I'm going to ask her. If she wants a business, I'm going to get her in business. I don't care. What do I care? It ain't my life. And I already know she knows one kid. Well, so what if her kid don't get in? You still going to let her in? Yeah. What do I care? Totally don't care. I asked Emily if she'd read this book, and she had. It's called The Art of Not Giving a F***. My wife don't let me use that word, but that's what the name of the book. It's F***. And it's The Art of Not Giving One. It's not caring. But in that book, you will soon realize that there's some things you care about, but most of the stuff you don't care about. So it's discriminatory, non-discriminatory. So non-discriminatory most of the time, discriminatory most of the, it's such a clash of comments. And people can't deal with this. And this is that mental health problem. Mentally, they can't deal with this. They got to be all this way or all that way. And the ability to get yourself mentally where you can deal with it. Like all y'all hearing is a success story from Adam and Beth and Mike and Noel. What you didn't hear is the heartache. Last year, at our convention, let's see who we got. At our convention, we got Kevin Keats, basketball coach, Wes Moore, basketball coach on stage. We've also got V-E-R. V-U-R. We've got two players and two women, two guys. And two of the kids on the basketball team, the men's team, they were having a really, really, really not good year. And people were just destroying them on social media. They need to quit. They need to give up. But what had happened was this kid throws a shot up from half court and it goes in. And it's like, what? Like, hey, you want to get into business? Half court. You want in? In what? Insurance. Half court shot. And the guy goes, yeah. So the ball goes in. And then they proceed to win 5 more games in a row. Hell, I barely won 5 this year. And they won 5 in a row. And now they're like heroes and superstars. And everybody's talking about one of the greatest teams ever and excited. And I was like, does anybody remember before that half-court shot went in? They were losers. Now they're winners. It's just so crazy, the ability. Because think about it. If this kid had said, game's over and threw it, instead, he drives down as hard as he can and takes as best he can do from half court, and it goes in. So it's that mental thing of keeping going. I want to say it, Adam, but how can you describe? We're telling people this is the way it's going to work. You're going to have some heartache, but you got to keep going. Next thing you know, we're on an expense-paid trip to Alaska.
Yeah, it's remembering your victories when you're having a string of losses. It's can you go back to the time you won? Because if you can win one time here, then you can win over and over again. We always say it this way: if you can sell one, you can sell thousands. It doesn't mean you're going to sell thousands, and it doesn't mean your next 10 appointments aren't going to be the worst 10 appointments you could possibly run. But you got to remember that feeling after that first sale. You got to remember that feeling you had with that agent and as you built a business. And you can't allow the defeats to become bigger. You've always said it this way, Andy. You said, if the dream's big enough, the facts don't count. And the size of the dream will determine the size of the problem that derails you. And so having these victories to fall back on, hearing these stories like Mike and Noel talk about, seeing their lifestyle, seeing what they're able to do, what they've done for their children, how they've lived their lives over the last 20 years, it inspires me to realize that we just need to stay in the game and that the dream is real. And even when you have a hiccup, the dream's bigger than the hiccup. And that's because we've all had those hiccups. We were here in 2008 when the world collapsed. But your leadership kept us in the game. and helped us get through those times. It's just that idea of, if you're going through hell, just don't set up camp. Run faster.
Good advice. Going through hell, don't set up camp. What do you say, Noel? Help people understand this.
I love what Adam just said. Don't set up camp in hell. Gosh. I was thinking about some of the things that you do, Andy, is just how intentional you are with what you want and focused on that. That's not to say you're not building relationships and listening to people. Certainly you are. But being intentional with your time. There was a TWC or an activity call that you did years ago on the ABCDEs and being focused and intentional with your time. And I know you've done a couple since then talking about that, but that really impacted me. And I think it was in 2016 when you did that for the first time that I saw it. And I just am like, okay, what do I want? And I was telling some agents, or I forget who I was talking to. I've said this a lot lately. To me, it's like I'm in the year of it's no big deal. Everything's going to be no big deal. And so that helps me move forward. If something happens or isn't happening the way I want it to, I'm in my head or out loud, actually, I'll say, hey, it's no big deal. And that helps me refocus on what do I want. So speaking positive into others, maybe even more importantly, speaking positive into ourselves. And that's a big thing for me. If people on our team probably know this, if somebody says something negative, that's the thing that kind of sets me off in a way. I have them repeat back what they said in a positive way. So you can have negative and still be speaking positive. And I was reading just before this call, I was just reading the House of Values and Behaviors, the book. In there, you say, focus on the circle of you, which is your other book, but the circle of you being the best you. And I wrote it down. Love everything on the outside. Care about it, but don't worry about it. And so that just impacted me before I even got on this call. So focus on what you can control. Care about that stuff, but don't worry about that stuff. So everything's no big deal.
So I don't want to call y'all four old. I will call me old, but y'all understand this is not the case when you're 20. When 20, something bad happens, it's the end of the world. And then you get a date, you get a job, you get a number, crap. You think it's the greatest thing ever. Versus old people are like, yeah, so. You know what I'm saying? Like with your kids, y'all's kids and our kids, something happens to them and they think it's unbelievably what? Good. And we're like, So we have to remember to cheer with them like, yay! Inside we're thinking, that's not that big of a deal. Y'all know what I'm saying? And then something bad happens to them and they're like, oh my God. And we're like, and we gotta go, oh yeah. But in fact, we're like, 2 weeks from now, it won't even remember it happened. Or is it oldness or is it maturity? Because like Jake and Varae are young as everything, but they seem to get over stuff. Mm-hmm. Not as fast as we want them to get over stuff, Mike. But they get over stuff. Adam, y'all, you got a scholarship. Both of y'all got scholarships, right? Y'all went to college for free. And then you found out you had to what?
Serve time.
Free scholarship. Free scholarship. You know what he had to do? He had to be a school teacher. Like, that's expensive. How long do they make you teach to pay back your free education?
It was 4 years.
4 years.
So 4 years of service or teaching for terrible income, no offense to the school teachers, to pay for the 4 years of free education. And you had to be at school. You had to go to school for 4 years free, and you got to be there, but you got to be there 4 years of your life. But you got to do this to get it free. Wait, 8?
Go ahead.
Yeah, 8, because eight of going to school, 4 of going to school, and then 4 of teaching school. So 8 years of your life to get a free education going forward.
I always did the math like this. People drive me crazy. I think it's funny. Nothing drives me crazy, but I think it's funny. People like they buy a batch of leads and they don't immediately sell $5,000, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't make any money." And it's just like, I went to school for 4 years, and I was on the hook for $20,000. School was a lot cheaper because we are old. But I was, Beth and I were on the hook for $20,000. Our income, our first year teaching, was $19,900. The way I did the math, gave Mike a heart attack right there. The way I did the math, I was 5 years in, down $100. And you want to tell me after 2 weeks you're not a gazillionaire?
The first year of working, you made $19,000. So you made $19,000 back of the $20,000
that I owed if I didn't teach. So I was still down $100 after 5 years of my life.
And they're panicking because they bought $500 worth of leads and they only made $1,000, or I only made $200. I spent $500 and I didn't make any money. Is it immaturity? Is it being a child? Is it not understanding how life works? One of my friends says, if it's going to be funny later, you should start laughing now. And then, so when something bad happens, we start laughing, then we always go, too soon, too soon, too soon. Because they're still depressed and still in bad, and we start laughing about it, go, too soon. Later on, we'll laugh, but too soon. So building the business, the ability, so kind of like I was picking on somebody earlier, because I understand that he got 50% of the test right. That's what I understand. I'm not sure if that's true. So when I saw him, I was like, "Hey, I heard you got half of them right on test, man. That's awesome." and he kind of didn't laugh. And I was like, "I thought that's pretty funny. 50%. That's good. It's good. If you're going to laugh about it later, let's laugh about it now. What if you got 49? That'd be like odds in Vegas. You're at a 50-50. We can build on this. Makes sense. Like, let's move on. Could we just move on? What is it? Y'all remember this better than me. It goes like this: the ability to survive defeat after defeat with the same excited, optimistic enthusiasm. Your ability to go from challenge or mountain, game, play, person. So 5 people tell you it's stupid. You're trying to talk to them about something. Do you stop? Or do you, the 6th person, hey, listen, everybody else has been kind of brutal to me, so I want to ask you if you'd be interested in the business or not. That's not the same enthusiasm that you started out with. Hey, man, listen, I got this crazy opportunity. I want to tell you about it. You're an idiot. Next person. Hey, man. So your ability to have a positive enthusiasm, no matter what, going forward, is money. The same thing. We're talking recruiting and building, and we're not talking selling, but selling's the same thing. How many stories do we hear about a person that's went all day, 8 appointments, nothing, last house, 9 applications for $4,000 in sales that day on the last one? That's the concept. How do you keep that? Maybe it's dumbness, maybe it's smartness, but what I'm trying to do, Adam, is with my young people that I'm coaching, like your daughter, is to get that in her head now. So what we do with young people. So like I'm trying to get you, Amir, I'm trying to get you, Keon, is these books that we want you to read is to understand it. Now, you heard it. Your dad born in a different country than here. So your dad was born in a different country. So he's here now. He's dealing with stuff, and he's put stuff in your head. Don't quit. There's a shot, right? So you've had mentors in football that say you get put on your butt one play, you still hit the next play with insane enthusiasm. You fumble the ball. The next play, you can't be thinking about the fumbled ball. You got to be thinking about now. So that translation, if you can get it over to business, if you can take your dad's mentality, born in a different country, and then making good here, if you take that mentality and then put it in this business and just hit it with enthusiasm and not get depressed, you can get rich fast. Like literally get rich fast. But you have to get old fast. You have to get that 6 inches between these ears. This amount of distance right here is where the biggest problem is. And I think Adam and Mike, I think we've made a mistake by sometimes spending too much time on teaching how to sell something and how to get them to sell. Because no matter how good you teach them to sell, you're still going to deal with a-holes, meaning people that people they're trying to sell to. And if they deal with 3 a-holes in a row, they come back to our technique that we gave them. Well, there's no technique in the world that make those 3 people not be a-holes. It's going to the 4th person who writes you a check and is fired up out of their mind. So it is a balance between the mental aspect and the how-to aspect that gets the rewards. Describe, Beth, you know my deal. Describe for everybody what I'm looking for when I'm hiring, like the physical traits, the mental traits, or Alliance Aiden, Alliance Alice, the ideal person.
Right. So it's funny because Adam and I didn't exactly fit that mold when we were the name on the list, but we still had a shot. So Alliance Aiden, Alliance Alice. So they're...
Whoa, Beth. What aspect did you and Adam not fit Alliance?
We were still on the younger side.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, we were on the younger side, and we hadn't quite gotten established. We were first year teachers, hadn't quite gotten established. What we did have going for us, first of all, was that we were on the younger side. So someone who is 25 to 35, they've gotten out of school, they've gotten a job, they've gotten into the real world, and they've realized it is not all it was cracked up to be. Like they realize that they don't have summer vacations anymore because they have a job that they have to work 12 months a year. Then looking for someone who is educated in some fashion. Not that they have to have a PhD, not that they have, but they've gone through some kind of learning experience that has educated them. They've learned something about life and how the real world works. We're also looking for someone who's, if they're in a committed relationship, that relationship where they have someone else who is going to be a positive voice into their life, that's going to encourage them, that's going to build them up. And it gives you 2 shots. Because if the husband doesn't want to do it, the wife will fall in love, or the wife falls in love, and vice versa, whatever. So looking for that. Looking for people who want an opportunity. Like they've got a vision of where their life can be, what they want to accomplish. They aren't already just woe is me on everything, and they're sitting back and never leaving their room because the world is a cruel place. They have a vision for where they want their life to go. You want me to keep going?
Well, it's on page 115 of the Millionaire Maker. This is who we're looking for, the guy or the girl. This is exactly. So the question is, do you know somebody like that? Like how old are you, Amir? 24. So what they're saying is they know I like 27. So it's too young. But I think y'all are perfect, Adam and Beth, because you were younger, but you're going to hit 27. Like, all you gotta do is not die. Like, it's not hard. Just don't die. Like, don't step in front of a car. So then all the other things I could give them, like your daughter, for example. If you said she's not perfect, I'd be like, what part is not perfect about her and Harry, right? Because they're going to be super smart by the time they're 27. Super crazy, all kind of everything. The only thing they're not hitting is age. So if I had to miss on anything, too young would be what I'd want to miss. So I'm talking to Victoria, my driver. She's way over, but her son's 27. I'm guessing he went to college, but I'm not sure. Adam and Beth were scholarship people, not just went to college. They went for free because they were smart. So intelligence. And it's funny because here's what people say to me sometimes. I go, I'm going to get this guy because he really needs this because he's stupid. Like, yeah, he needs it, but we're not looking for people. We're not looking for the needy. We're looking for the greedy. We're looking for one that can do it, not they trying to save them. The smarter, more intelligent, all the better things, the better. So that's what I'm saying, discriminatory. Like if I see somebody that fits this description, I've got to try more, spend more money, put more energy into that person, because it would be like if you're looking at the craps table, put more money on the thing that wins more. And you say, well, how do you know that wins more? You read the book. You read the book and it'll tell you what wins more. So the same thing with the Millionaire Maker Manual. What wins more is what I'm going to bet more on. So more likely to double, quadruple my money, I'm going to bet more on. And I'm not going to spend so many bets. I might, have a glass of wine. I might throw a quarter out there on a Snake Eyes or Railroad or Cross Train. What is it? 2 6s? Boxcars. I'll be like, boxcars, baby. And I will tell you when it hits it, you go crazy too. You know what I'm saying? I'm wanting to go to Vegas right now. But when it hit, because it's fun when you hire somebody that don't fit the mold, like they're just terrible, like nothing matches. But then they start writing $20,000 a month. You're like, that was a long shot, but I'm glad I bet it. Just don't bet all your money on the long shots all the time, because you're gonna lose all your money fast. You know what I'm saying? Because it never hits. Like you can't snake eyes. You're like, dude, it ain't hitting 30 minutes, and then you'll be sitting there, nobody betting on it. Somebody rolls a 2, you'll be like, "Did you hit a 2?" Yeah. And then he rolls another 2. You're like, 2 times in a row. What's going on this earth? Like, is there cosmic forces on, and you're like, heck it, I'm gonna bet it. And like, no, don't bet. No, you just hit it 2 times. You ain't gonna see it again the rest of the night. And so then they hit it again. You're like, oh, bets are off. It is fun. If you're against gambling, I apologize. Help me here, Mike. This is what we're looking for. This is Jake and Varae. And I like the way I put the height. You can't really tell how tall they are, and you can't really tell how short they are. And I like, they're just kind of in between. Just, I don't know. I'm trying not to be judgmental, but this is what I'm looking for. Yeah, like this. The contradiction. Help me, Mike.
All right. So are you talking about where Noelle and I were when we got started? Or
that's a good idea.
Okay. So if you look at all things, we were married. No kids. We both had jobs. I'd been at mine over 5 years. Noelle tried to stay at hers, but she got laid off twice in 1 year. So I don't know if it was her or the company. Either way, but I'd been there. It said, hey, do we believe in God and our higher power? Yeah, that was there. Were we ambitious and looking? Yeah, we'd been doing other work outside of our jobs. We loved hanging around with the AB and other like-minded people. we found out that there was money in insurance, as we learned quick, so picked up on that. So if you looked at all 10 of those things, I think we probably had 8 or 9 of those educated. Yeah, college educated. So I think we hit a lot of those, and we were 30 at the time, 30 and 31, and so we talk about being in that 25 to 35 age bracket, somewhere in there. We had energy, and I think it's like, hey, glad somebody took a chance, and now you could have somebody that's all 10 of those things, and doesn't mean they're going to line up and do this, but if you've got, man, if I'm going to fish in that barrel of people that are in that space, you're more likely, the odds are much better in your favor, you're going to find somebody that can run through that. So certainly if you see that, hey, antenna's up, be willing to put more resources in. They've got time to work through stuff. I mean, man, if you get someone that's eager, fired up, and they're in that dual income, no kids state, and they understand, and they just choose to keep things, hey, keep my expenses low, go all in, so man, they can blow it up fast. And so when you see someone that they get the picture, hey, they got no. Somebody's gonna say, well, what about me? Hey, you too. If you're not that, you have the ability to, how do I put some stuff off my plate and run harder, faster for a period of time to make it go. You're just talking about, sometimes somebody says, man, what about this guy here? And it's like, okay, yeah, they're a nice person, but the fact that he can't speak English, he doesn't have a car, and he's living in his mom's basement as a 50-year-old. I said, I like him too. But you got to put yourself, if you're a basketball player, and it's like the NBA All-Star game. It's like, if I'm picking and I see the kid from the Make-A-Wish Foundation who's in a wheelchair, it's like, I'm not picking him to play in the All-Star game. I love the kid. Maybe I'll make him an honorary captain. Maybe I'll give him some of my game check after we win. Right? But I'm going to go with Steph Curry or Jason Tatum or someone that can catch a basketball and shoot it. So
Kevin Keats is going to be here. He's bringing Breon Pass and Jaden Taylor, 2 athletes, played on a ACC championship team. And Westmore is bringing Anaya James and Madison Hayes. So they're too young, but we still want to try to recruit them. Okay? Now, trying to recruit somebody is not like trying to tackle them. It's not the same. Don't be slob. Don't y'all be attacking my basketball players in the house. They go run, hey, come with me. Like, don't start your mess. We got to all play it cool. We know we want him. Like, I want Keats in. He ain't getting in. I done tried to get him about 32 times, but he's too old. And he makes, I don't know, $5 million coaching. That's his passion. But he gives me people. Hey, Albright, this guy right here is a good one. You ought to get him. He's always giving me referrals. Westmore hadn't done it too much, but I need to get on West's butt more. But then West don't hardly ever use the jet either. Keith's always wanted to use the jet, so he's always giving me referrals. West don't ask to use the jet. It's like a give and take, right? What's up, Jeff? So those guys are going to be here. When we're talking to people, we're a little bit like fishing. Couple different baits we have. One is unlimited income. Not everybody's fired up about that. It's weird. Flexible schedule. A lot of people like that. I don't like to sell that part. It's kind of like if I'm fishing with a treble hook. I don't like it when a fish gets the whole treble hook in its mouth. It's like, now I got to get it out. It's just it's not as much fun. The analogy, like I get somebody in that they want free time. Then I'm trying to get them in, trying to get them to make a lot of money, and they really wanted spare time. I'm like, oh God. So, but it is still some way to get somebody. But that's not what I fish with all the time. What I want to fish unlimited income because I want the person that's interested to be interested in it. Now, if I don't feel like they're greedy, I might talk about, we got the same Medicare. When people turn 65, they get this insurance. They don't have to make payments. You get paid $500 to sign people up. Or Or like, I think if you called that guy back, Miller, John Miller or Milner, whatever his name is, like I would probably talk to him about estate planning because he's a cocky, confident, he thinks he can do good seminars. If we're talking to kids, we say, hey, mortgage protection. So they're all about mortgages and real estate. So we're selling people a insurance to keep their home. So you see, I'm throwing bait out there. You might be interested in seminars. You might, or how about this? Just some people, just Adam and Beth, just wanted some friends to hang out with. Like they were new to the community, didn't know anybody. Me and Jane had decent paying jobs, had a house, and they're like, hey, they're nice people over pizza. So in other words, friends. You might get them in to be friends. You might get them in for unlimited income. You might get it in because they like estate planning. I'm recruiting a kid right now. I met him on the beach, 25 years old, UNC Charlotte, sharp as everything, makes $100,000, 25 years old, making $100,000 and doing real estate. So I've been educating him on taxes. And I just sent him this book that everybody, your kids, hopefully, if your kids hadn't read this, Mike and Noel, you need to get them to. I know Sarah has and Emily has. I don't know about Andrew, but it's called Economics in One Lesson, 15 minutes. It is bad to do. Like you need to read this. I sent it to Seth. So this guy I'm recruiting, Seth, I'm helping him in his life. I think, is he in class? He didn't sign up yet, but we've sent him the link, but he hadn't signed up yet. So but here's my point. I'm following up. I sent him this morning a picture of the book. So then I'm going to say, I sent him a picture. He said, I ordered it on Amazon right then. He ordered the book right then. So he's falling for I'm teaching him how to have a better life, but he ain't falling for the get an insurance license part. But I'm going to text him back. I'm going to say, get your license. I told you. I've got some money in the bank with him, Adam. I'm going to take some of that money. I'm going to say, hey, look, I'm coaching you, helping you. Get your insurance license. And eventually, I'm going to say, is there any of your other friends that might be more interested in doing this? You with me? So I'm working it. And this is what I was telling, there it is right there. Economics in One Lesson by Hazlitt, Hazlitt. It's a great book on understanding money. He says, thanks for sending this. This was this morning at 9:14 a.m. I see the book. I'm packing to come up here. I see the book on the counter, and I went, I wonder if Seth's read that. I'm pretty sure Emily's read it. And then Emily said she hadn't read it. And I was like, all right. So I think she ordered it. But Economics in One Lesson, you got to read this book. It's great. Now, but there's so many things. Because see, the other thing is I can't just tell you in 2 minutes. And when a book has 162 pages, that's a lot to go in your head. I can't remember word for word, but I remember the feel and what I got out of it. He says, thanks for sending this over. I just ordered it on Amazon, and it should be waiting for me when I'm back from Chicago. So he was going to come here this weekend, but he'd already committed to, I think he's a best man at a wedding or something like that. Is that right? So when he gets back, it's going to be waiting for him. I really hate I couldn't make it to the conference this weekend, but I've got the ball rolling on the insurance course.
He signed up with us, but yeah,
he signed up, but he hadn't gotten class. All right, you really need to jump in that class and get one chapter knocked out and try not to kill yourself because it's so boring. But I promise you, it's great information, and you need to get this sticker on your side. Because that's literally what I just sent him. I'm selling him on getting his license. I see, and this kid is not like he's not desperate. He's not trying to get rich. He's got a good job. He moved to Tampa area. You know, like fish the bait, they'll bite. Don't try to here bite this or here swallow this. You know, you're trying to get them in by hook or crook. You're trying to get them in however they want to. Now, if a guy says, "Hey," like with me, like when I got in Amway, they didn't have to sell me on nothing. I just started drawing circles. I was like, "What pyramid are you doing?" She's like, I'm not in the pyramid. I said, I see these circles. I know you're in the pyramid. I want in. You don't even know what it is. I said, I don't care what it is. I want in. You're going to find some people like that every once in a while, but not typically. Typically going to ease them down the pipeline. And then, who knows, 7 years from now, Adam, who Seth is going to lead you to. Maybe Seth gets rich, or maybe his cousin gets rich, or maybe Bob and Tim and Jane, whoever it leads to. But I'm going to be right there, not quitting, and keep driving until I find them. All right. Family reunion this weekend. One more call. Try to get them there, Adam. When you're here, network every kind of person, because if you meet this person who plays basketball, this person plays chess, this person plays badminton, you're recruiting this person and you find out they're a basketball player, you get them on the line with a basketball player. You find out they're a chess player, you get them on the line with a chess player. You find out badminton. From the South, get them with somebody from the South. From the North, get them with somebody from the North. Because why? Because people like people that are like them, and they like people that like them. Like them and like them. You watch. The complainers, watch. The complainers this weekend, you'll see them together. Just, you say, well, I don't know. Well, if you know a complainer, just look at the people standing around them. They're complainers. I'm just telling you, it's the weirdest thing. The weirdos are going to find the weirdos. You watch, but they're the good weirdos, they're good complainers. And then the ambitious are going to be around the ambitious. That's why you got to be careful who you hang around with, because people assume you're like one of them because of who you're hanging around with. Well, they say you will be blamed, you will be tied to the people you tied to. You'll be tied to the ones you tied to. So that's why that's why I said dinner last night. I'm going to these people. I didn't tell them about that, did I? I told them, 79-year-old. Yeah. I'm tied to those people. They lived a long time, and they can walk. And there's other things about them that I like a lot. I'm just telling you. They're crazy. I'm hoping. I'll be like you, man. What? Tell you what? You get to pick. You got feet in your shoes and brains in your head. And you get to go wherever you choose. You get to pick. You get to pick this weekend. You get to pick. You get to decide. And you're in a game that you can win. And if you pick them and bring them to us, we'll help you. You don't have to do it all by yourself. Get them around the right people. Hey, guys, this is what I was hoping for. I think y'all got through to some people. I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all for building massive hierarchies. Adam and Beth, this is also to you. Let's do this again. Mike and Noel, we got to do it faster. We got to speed it up. The way we speed it up is with more money, more energy, more emotion. Those are really the three things that we can put in to make it happen more. Because if we think about it all the time, then we ain't going to let an opportunity walk by us. So let's try to do it faster going forward. And if you're brand new and you're with us, you're hearing our heart. We're trying to tell you how to get over stuff and move on. Thank y'all so much. Can't wait to see y'all tonight, tomorrow night. Bring it.
Good night.